Morning to you all. Thanks for joining us on Meet the Press. Minister, I'll begin with you. What changes are you hoping to make to the current system?
Well, the system we inherited was 18,000 children in out-of-home care, foster care, the largest in the country, 11 in 1,000 children being removed, and for many of them, not great lives. They weren't at the centre. The child's safety and happiness wasn't really at the centre of what then happened. I mean, over a third of them were in, multiple placements, over 3. I think the average number of placements was 3 families. And it's not like changing school 3 times. When you change families, you often leave your toys, your baby photographs, your school records, your health records, and you go to a family, mostly in a crisis. And I've met many foster children who left care at the age of 18, having lived with 20 families. So every time they leave a family, they have to bond again, learn to love and trust another group of people, strangers, and understandably, they end up not being able to do that easily, and you have then another generation of disadvantage, and that's what we want to do, break that cycle.
So what is this legislation proposing?
Well, it's getting rid of the red tape. It's making sure that foster parents can also become adoptive parents without having to jump through hoops twice. It's changing the Act so that parents, birth parents, are more, I hope, going to be more supportive of having their child adopted rather than put into foster care. And it's about changing the culture. I mean, I think, as Louise is going to remind me, that the department and child protection agencies around the country are often not very supportive of adoption because they imagine it's the bad old days, and of course it's not. Open adoption is a very different thing. Well, and the child has to be at the centre of this. This is about children's rights to a safe and happy childhood, not about adults' rights.
Louise, I'll bring you in here from Barnardos. This idea of open adoption, how important is it to getting to greater outcomes?
Well, I think when you look at what happened in the past, when the enormous criticism of adoption as it used to take place was it was a secret thing. Children, as they grew to be adults, suddenly found out in adulthood that they were adopted. It devastated their whole world. It's really important that people know where they come from. When we're talking about open adoption, we're talking about very limited contact. Certainly for my agency, which is the agency in Australia that does most of the adoptions as a non-statutory body, we organise maybe 3 contact visits a year. This is sufficient so that children know where they come from, and it's really, really important that that goes on.
Well, Julie and Shannon, who've kindly joined us today on the show, you have 4 boys and 3 adopted boys. Shannon is one of those. Can you tell me how the process was for you, having adopted 3 boys?
It was very hard in the beginning with the 2 older boys. It took a long time, 5 to 6 years. But with our baby, he's just turned 5. We got him in December one year, and he was adopted the December the next year, and it was much easier. The kids were more stable, steady. The rest of our family were calmer because they knew it was just settled and done. So it's the quicker the better it is.
Yeah. So what sort of impact for the 2 older boys, that obviously the process took a lot longer, what sort of impact did it have on them?
Every time someone come to the door, they were afraid that, oh, okay, we're going to have to move on or something like that. And when we adopted them after 5 years, they actually stamped their own adoption papers.
Well, we're talking about you, Shannon. Tell us about it. What was that like, being involved in the process, being allowed to go up to and stamp the official papers?
Being able to stamp the papers was it gave us a feeling of safety, knowing that nobody was going to come home and take us away. Yeah. And
how important has it been for you to now know that you are part of a secure, loving family until you're 18 at least?
It feels good, like, just because they don't think of us as strangers coming to a different home. They just think of us as family, and that makes us feel better.
Which you are.
That's your mum.
So, Pru, is this something that other states can fall in step with? Because it's a New South Wales thing right now.
I mean, look, obviously we want to drive this, but I would think the other states would also be saying, what is the point of removing thousands of children, leaving them in foster care, when if you put the child first and you put having a safe and happy childhood first, you should be encouraging adoption. So that's why our reforms will make adoption the top of the tier. And I would hope other states would do the same thing because, I mean, adoption rates around Australia are appallingly low.
Well, 78 we saw last year were adopted. If this legislation goes through, what sort of numbers are you hoping to see?
Well, a modest woman, I'd like to start with hundreds, but obviously, if a child's to the point where it needs to be removed because the parents, after much support, still can't look after the child and keep it safe, then you would think that all of those children really deserve a permanent childhood. And as Shannon's saying, that really means one family that you can call mum. Nobody from the agency is knocking on the door saying, we don't think this is working anymore, come on son, pack up your bags and you're going. Who wants to give that for a child?
Aim for the stars,
Aim for
think.
the stars,
all right.
of course.
Thank you all for coming in, and particularly Julie and Shannon for sharing your story today.
No worries.
It's okay.
Well, next, exclusive details about blood money deals being done with Sydney's crime families.
Mycroft. Nothing annoys Sherlock Holmes
You live in England!
more than family.
I see I'm at the mercy of the Holmes brothers.
Deduction, meet dysfunction.
Can you just stay out of the eye line? I'm just standing here. Yes, that's the problem.
New Elementary, 8:30 tonight on 10.
As part of our quote challenge on this A Typical Australian Street, we quoted short driver Jim and stay-at-home mum Katie. They would save $623 on their car insurance if they switched to Yui. We get you. Call 13 Yui or go to yui.com.au.
Tired of using all these to clean your home? You need the Shark Portable Steam Plug. It cleans and sanitizes easier, faster, better, guaranteed. Kitchens and bathrooms.